may take your seats. The Honorable Mia Amor Motley, Prime Minister. The Honorable Mia Amor Motley, Prime Minister of Barbados. The Honorable Davidson Ishmael, Minister of State in the Ministry of Health and Wellness. The Most Honorable Kenneth George, Chief Medical Officer. The Most Honorable Dr. Sonji Beckles, Director of the Best dos Santos Public Health Laboratory. Consular Vanessa Romani, representative of the Embassy of the Argentine Republic. Ms. Mal Gorzata Waziluska, Ambassador for the European Union. Ms. Faith Best, representative for the USAID. United Nations Head of Agencies. Mr. Wayne Marshall, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Health and Wellness. Dr. Amalia Del Riego, the PAHO WHO representative for Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean countries. Program heads and senior officials of the Ministry of Health and Wellness, managers and lab staff of the Best dos Santos Public Health Laboratory, staff of the Pan American Health Organization, other specially invited guests, members of the media. Good morning to you all. My name is Donna Barker. I'm the Acting Senior Health Promotion Officer, your Master of Ceremonies for this morning's proceedings. On the 31st of October 2023, the World Health Organization recognized the Best dos Santos Public Health Laboratory, located here in Bridgetown, Barbados, as a national influenza center and as a member of their global influenza surveillance and response system. This morning, it brings me great pleasure to welcome you all to this official ceremony, which is being hosted by the Pan American Health Organization and the Ministry of Health of Wellness to mark this significant achievement. At this time, I would like to invite Dr. Amalia Del Riego, Pan American Health Organization, World Health Organization representative for Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean, to give opening remarks.
Thank you and good morning. Protocol being established, allow me to acknowledge the Honorable Mia Amor Motley, Prime Minister of Barbados, and the Honorable Davidson Ishmael, Minister of State, Ministry of Health and Wellness, our distinguished colleagues from the Diplomatic Corps, colleagues from the Ministry of Health, and of course, PAHO, and most importantly, colleagues from the Best dos Santos Lab. Members of the media, again, good morning. It is with great pride and a sense of profound responsibility that I stand before you today as the representative of the Pan American Health Organization and World Health Organization in Barbados to celebrate a momentous milestone for the Best dos Santos Laboratory. Prime Minister, Minister of Health, and colleagues from the Best dos Santos Laboratory, please accept congratulations and warm recognition from Dr. Tedros Ghebreyesus, Director of General of WHO, and Dr. Barbosa, Director of PAHO and Regional Director for WHO for the Americas. Today, we are not just marking the designation of this facility as the World Health Organization National Influenza Center, but we are also celebrating the unwavering commitment to health and safety that this represents for Barbados and the wider Caribbean region. The Best of Santos laboratory has been a beacon of hope and resilience. Of course, we all remember how the staff worked round the clock during the COVID-19 pandemic. The elevation to a national influenza center is a testament to the dedication of its staff who have tirelessly worked to ensure that our community remains safeguarded against COVID-19, flu, and other similar illnesses. Last year, Barbados indicated an interest in designating Besto Santos as a national influenza center, and subsequently in September 2023, an evaluation mission by PAHO recommended the laboratory. This designation of National Influenza Center means that the laboratory is recognized for its highest standards and its ability to perform specialized diagnostics, contribute to global flu surveillance, and provide critical data that helps in the fight against influenza and pandemics. The Besto Santos Laboratory's new role will empower Barbados to better understand the flu, track its changes, and protect the population through more effective vaccines and treatments. But the foundation for where the lab stands today has been laid over the years. The decision by the government of Barbados in 2018 to have a dedicated national public health laboratory amalgamating the various existing laboratories at that time was a visionary and bold step. The Besto Santos laboratory, so created, has indeed been a great asset for the country and for the region. During the COVID-19 pandemic and beyond, the Pan American Health Organization has worked diligently with the Ministry of Health and the laboratory to increase and strengthen diagnosis capacity, be it for antimicrobial resistance, for influenza, for COVID-19 itself, and many other diseases. That would have not been possible without the tremendous support of different partners. Allow me to also acknowledge the contribution of our key partners in this process, the European Union, the USAID, the US government, the Argentinian government, the UK aid, and Canada. Without that collaboration, this simply would have not been possible. And this collaboration represents a very good example of a strong and effective partnership, which we will continue nurturing. As we acknowledge this significant milestone, let us also cast our gaze forward. The journey does not end here. PAHO considers that Besto Santos not only has the technical expertise, but also the strategic vision to become a WHO collaborating center for AMR surveillance and training, and we remain committed to this joint target. Hopefully, we will be acknowledging the establishment of the WHO collaborating center this year. Thank you to all the scientists, technicians, and staff whose dedication has brought us to this point. Your work does not go unnoticed, and it is deeply appreciated. Yesterday, April 7, we celebrated the World Health Day under the theme, My Health, My Right. The realization of the right to health is only possible through collective action, political commitment, and access to quality healthcare services. The Best dos Santos is already making its contribution to this goal. Together, let us continue to strive for excellence in health for every person, in every community, in every corner of this beautiful island and beyond. I thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Del Riego. And at this time, we will hear from our Ministry of Health and Wellness, and to deliver those remarks, I invite the Honorable Davidson Ishmael, Minister of State in the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Good morning to all. Protocol being established, let me especially greet our Honorable Prime Minister, Mia Motley, and our friends and partners from PAHO, the European Union, Argentina, and a host of you who are here to celebrate with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, today is indeed a momentous occasion as we gather to recognize the best of Santos Public Health Laboratory as the WHO National Influenza Center. This achievement is a testament to the hard work, dedication, and commitment of countless numbers of heroes who are on a daily basis involved in ensuring the health and well-being of our citizens. Barbados has a long history of prioritizing public health, and our journey in molecular diagnostics for influenza testing began in 2009 at the Lady Mead Reference Unit Laboratory. Throughout the years, Barbados has remained steadfast in its commitment to excellence in the field of influenza testing. Therefore, and evidently, today's recognition is a culmination of years of hard work, perseverance, and collaboration, not just in relation to influenza, but to public health on a whole. The Besto Santos Public Health Laboratory officially opened in 2018, but played a critical role in the national response to COVID-19 pandemic, with over 800,000 tests being processed over the last 3 years. As the Ministry of Health and Wellness expands its capacity to monitor non-communicable diseases, including and arguably chief of which is cancer, surveillance and enhanced diagnostics will be key to addressing early detection and monitoring. Accordingly, our strategic establishment of the Barbados Living Laboratory project will be instrumental for cancer research. The goal of the Living Lab is to provide enhanced laboratory services in Barbados in areas of cancer diagnostics, which includes immunohistochemistry staining, analysis of cancer biomarkers, flow cytometry, genetic testing, and more. Cancer is currently within the top 10 causes of death in our country. Therefore, the Ministry of Health and Wellness is enhancing its capacity for early detection and treatment of cancers through updated cancer screening guidelines and diagnostics, including genomic sequencing for cancers and respiratory viruses such as COVID-19 and influenza A and B. More specifically, and relative to cancer screening, the Ministry of Health and Wellness has engaged urologists to devise a screening protocol for prostate cancer, while simultaneously working with our partners at PAHO to update our cervical cancer screening guidelines, and this is currently under expert review. We have also engaged partners in creating a screening protocol for breast cancer, and PAHO has facilitated the creation of cancer risk reduction messaging focused on the leading cancers in our country. In addition to developing guidelines to improve colorectal cancer screening, the Ministry of Health and Wellness has created an initiative that strengthens screening by allocating resources to enhancing the laboratory capacity and improving access to colonoscopies. Furthermore, the Ministry of Health and Wellness has developed protocols in collaboration with local gastroenterologists, and additional resources have been mobilized at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital to purchase new scopes. Areas currently being addressed include human resources and the number of scoping suites, all in an effort to improve access to these critical screening services. The Government of Barbados and the Ministry of Health and Wellness continues to strengthen the laboratory response to public health needs through the commitment of funds to purchase additional equipment to enhance the diagnostic capacity of the Besto Santos Public Health Laboratory. We are not just talking about improving healthcare services for our people, we are investing and allocating significant sums of money to this end. To support our renewed focus on primary health care, we have allocated approximately $63 million towards this area in this new financial year, whilst another $2 million approximately has been earmarked for some of the very laboratory services we have been speaking about here this morning. In addition, just under $1 million has been approved for the purchasing of new and upgrading of old laboratory equipment. This is a government that is serious about providing the highest quality healthcare for our citizens and those who visit or reside within our shores. Antimicrobial resistant surveillance is another important public health concern that the Besto Santos Public Health Laboratory has prioritized by investing in state-of-the-art diagnostics to improve identification and susceptibility testing. I know that this topic is near and dear to the heart of our Prime Minister, as she is the current co-chair of the Global Leaders Group, which has been championing the cause of global awareness and efforts to address AMR. The Besto Santos Public Health Laboratory will work closely with the Queen Elizabeth Hospital Laboratory to strengthen the national efforts towards AMR surveillance and monitoring. This achievement being celebrated today highlights our commitment to excellence and to high standards of quality, as recognized by WHO and our contribution to the global influenza surveillance system. The designation of the Besto Santos Public Health Laboratory as the WHO National Influenza Center reaffirms our commitment to staying at the forefront of public health initiatives and ensuring the safety and security of our nation. I would like to extend my heartfelt congratulations to everyone every single person who has been involved in or played any role in this remarkable achievement. Your dedication and commitment have brought us to this moment, and I am confident that we will continue to excel in our efforts to safeguard the health of our citizens. Thank you once again for joining us today as we celebrate this milestone. Together, let us continue to strive for excellence in public health and work towards a healthier, safer future for all. I thank you.
Thank you, Minister Ishmael. And now we get to hear how this all started and how we came to this significant achievement. So at this time, I would like to invite the Most Honorable Dr. Sonji Beckles to give the best Dos Santos story.
Good morning, everyone. Protocol established. I would like to say thank you for everyone for coming here. And I would just like to give you a little history of the Best Dos Santos Public Health Laboratory. So it started with a dream and a journey. We thought of, in 2008, we said, we think healthcare can do better if we all came together with 3 public health labs in Barbados. And so our dream was to have an amalgamated laboratory. We would then go to the present, and we would venture also to the future. Technical difficulties? Oops. Okay, here we go again. Okay, so just an idea of where we came from. So when we looked at the Lady Mead reference unit, we were actually a molecular suite in a container. Downstairs was the actual lab, and upstairs was office and storage. And then, of course, downstairs we had the actual equipment to do our first set of molecular diagnostics. Some of them, where we actually started influenza testing in that container. Then you also see in that pictures of the public health laboratory, which was based at the Winston Scott Polyclinic as well, and some of the staff that were there. Okay, we're going too far. This is what inside the container and the labs actually looked like at that time. So you can see that we were cramped for space. It was not always the best space in terms of working, but we made best and did high quality work regardless of where we were at that point in time. But with our dream, we saw bigger and better things to come. So this is some of the equipment that was available for us at that time to do molecular diagnostics. We actually started from way back then in 2006. This was in 2006 when this lab was established at the Lady Mead Reference Unit Laboratory, where we wanted to continue to do more. We kept thinking of what more can we do? How can we better protect the health of our citizens and help to diagnose and do surveillance? So our dream emerged, and we kept thinking, what can we do? What can we do? And then luckily for us, dreams can come true. So following our dreams and at the time to the government that was in power, we decided that we would present what our thoughts were on what we would do. And we said we wanted this new state-of-the-art lab that would amalgamate the 3 labs, the Leptospira Laboratory, the Lady Mead Reference Unit Laboratory, as well as the Public Health Laboratory. And this is going too fast. And so this mission was actually accomplished in 2008, where we had the official handover of the new Best Dos Santos laboratory, which is right behind you, to the staff and the government of Barbados. This was actually funded through very heavy investments from the US government and then Barbados government as well. So this is what the new building looks like. So I know a lot of you may not have had the opportunity to actually visit the building, but this is our state-of-the-art laboratory. We have several departments within this laboratory. We have a clinical area where we look at things like serology. We do molecular diagnostics. We have immunology. We do enterics and parasitology. And we actually have an environmental area where we look at monitoring the quality of water and air in places within Barbados as well. But we also do other stuff. Technology is failing me. We look at quality assurance as well. We monitor things such as the HIV rapid testing programs that we have at the polyclinics. We actually prepare the controls that are used for that testing within the polyclinics, and we do some other stuff there as well. We prepare all the media for the microbiology department within the lab, which is important in AMR. And of course, none of this can happen and be clean and have that high quality if we don't have a good sterilization department. We also have a bio-level 3 suite, which is important for us because that is where you need to handle samples for tuberculosis, for TB testing. And this is one of the very few within the Caribbean, and probably there are only like 2 within the English-speaking Caribbean that exist. So we are also lucky to have that kind of capacity here as well, and staff that are trained to utilize this facility. And COVID, which everybody is aware of. But we also do other things, such as monitoring non-communicable diseases, such as diabetes. We also look at other sexually transmitted infections. We have HIV, we have chlamydia, we have HPV. We do a host of tests in those areas, herpes, etc. We also do TB testing, and we do enteric disease surveillance. Now, this is important in terms of outbreaks. Other current programs that are very important and dear to our hearts as well is the Global Salmonella Surveillance Program. Of course, I mentioned water quality monitoring as well as air quality testing. And we remember the water quality a few years ago when we had the issues on the South Coast. We did a lot of work in that area as well in terms of checking the quality of the water in that area. We also do other foodborne disease monitoring. We still have our program from leptospira surveillance, and that program started way back in the 80s when the leptospira laboratory, which is the building on to my right, the blue building outside, that used to be actually monitored by the Medical Research Council of the UK and was handed over to government of Barbados, I believe, in the 80s. And then lepto testing continued at that point in time. We also do arbovirus surveillance. So again, we know we're still in the tailspin of a dengue outbreak. And so we also do testing for dengue, Zika, and chikungunya, and all the viral infections such as hantavirus and other viruses. So just take you back to the COVID. I mean, this is where I think everybody knew Best of Santos existed. And it started really with training. None of this would have been possible without the training and the efforts from PAHO, who actually came into us in February of 2020 to say, okay, something is on the horizon, we're gonna get you all trained up. So it's 5 of us at the time, and we're like, okay, this is gonna be one of those things, just a few tests and a little increase, and we'll be happy and we'll be good to go. But it boiled over from a very few samples, as you can see in the refrigerator, until we had tons of samples that we did not even know how to keep up with at some points in time. And then we had more training because, of course, the 5 of us could not manage the number of samples that were coming in. We had many persons coming in. We had to hire lots more staff, and we actually had some persons coming in from technologists coming in from Cuba as well. And of course, then we had a language barrier because they didn't speak English. And so again, PAHO was very, very instrumental. That trainer, Dr. Gresh, was very fluent in Spanish, and he actually came in again, and he trained additional staff as well as those Spanish-speaking persons to make sure we were all on the same page and could continue to do our work. But none of this was not possible without the donations and the support from all of you here and others, including PAHO, the United States government, the IAEA, the Embassy in the People's Republic of China, the Republic of Korea, Caribbean Public Health Agency, Caribbean MedLab Foundations, just to name a few. And these are just some of the pics of the donations that we were given. We were given everything under the sun, almost anything that we needed, people were willing to assist, and we really, really appreciate it. We got equipment, we got supplies, and lots of it. We even had some things that we could not use, and we made sure that we shared them with the Harsons Point facility, etc. And we want to say a big thank you to all of those persons who supported us. Without your response, without your help, we would not have been as successful as we were in terms of monitoring and testing for COVID. But I also want to say, without great leadership, it would not have happened at all. I would say the government of Barbados and our Prime Minister, PM Motley, without you being there, you came into the lab and saw us on the ground, what we were doing. And your leadership, along with those persons of the Cabinet Subcommittee, the Ministers of Health, the Permanent Secretary, the Chief Medical Officer, and all the other senior medical officers who supported us when things were getting, and we thought we were all going to break down, they were there to say, come on, we can do this. All the other staff
I know we had our moments, our down moments when we were like, we can't manage this. They were there to keep us going. And I would like to take this opportunity as well to say thank you to the staff. And I would like to thank you by supporting all the lab through COVID and through our future vision as well. But to the meat of the matter for today, we hear about influenza testing. And as we said before, molecular diagnostics for influenza started in 2009, 2010, when they had the H1N1 scare at that point. And again, we had some training persons coming in to train us, and we say, okay, let's get ready for this. And then we had another outbreak in 2022, and the tail end of 2022, just after COVID. We had the opportunity also, some of the staff, to go to Brazil and to be exposed to additional training and to see what it's like to do the actual genomic sequencing for COVID at the time. So we have an idea of what is actually on the horizon, because we didn't have the capacity to do that. But we came back and we spoke and we discussed what we learned at the meeting. And I said, the molecular team, this is something that we can do. And they were like, yeah, we're ready. If there's one thing they can say, the molecular team has always been there. And there's nothing that comes that they don't say, we're ready, we can try this. So they were ready. And what did we do? We said, okay, based on what we want to achieve, become the National Influenza Center, it's definitely on the horizon. We can definitely do this. We went back and we looked to see what we had documented, review what the requirements were from WHO. And we said, okay, let's make sure that we have everything in place. We had our assessment in September of 2023, and the official notification coming back to the ministry saying stamp of approval. We saw it in February of this year. And we were so excited. And everybody started to scream, and I told them we got it. And we were so excited. So we were really, really happy. And so where do we go from here? This is just one thing. We are ready to go. We are raving and ready to go. We want to continue to enhance our AMR surveillance. The next big thing on our horizon for this year is becoming a WHO collaborating center for AMR, looking mainly at training of other scientists in the region, as well as continue to support the AMR external quality assessment program with the ETC islands. And then also something that was on our thoughts from before, and we want to get back to that as well, is become the WHO HIV drug resistance genotyping laboratory. Again, we have all the backbone of everything there. We just need to step up and do everything that we need to get there. So that is one of the other things that are on our immediate agenda. The HIV drug resistance in Barbados actually started way back in 2016, following the training that we had in CDC in Atlanta. And we decided that we wanted to go there, and we continue to do that testing. But of course, we're not going to stop at genetic sequencing for just COVID or influenza. We want to do other stuff. We are ready to and raving to go. We want to do it for other viruses along with the influenza. We want to do AMR as well, genotyping, and cancer markers as well. So we are ready. And to go back, we want to look at the equipment that we have. This piece of equipment that you're seeing here, these two pieces of equipment were actually partner investments. We have the Illumina, which is to your left. That was donated by PAHO through their collaboration with us in terms of being able to do our own sequencing for COVID. And to your right, you will see a sequencer that was actually donated to us from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, through their program for HIV drug resistance testing. And this is our newest babies that we have in the laboratory, our equipment for AMR testing. And this is from our national investments. And again, like I said, without national and international support, we would not be where we are today. So again, we'd like to say thank you for everyone who has been committed. But there's more to come. There's a future laboratory services. We see ourselves not only as performing tests locally for normal diagnostic purposes, but we think also that research capacity is very, very important. And the Barbados Living Lab, the goal is to provide specialized services in cancer diagnostics and in any area that we think that is of importance to us in Barbados and maybe the wider Caribbean. But we have to start somewhere, and we will start with cancer diagnostics. We're going to look at some AHLA typing. We're going to continue to do expanded genomic sequencing and many more things. And I would like to say thank you again to all those persons who have come out, who've come to the lab open, the investment in the lab, the investment in the staff in the lab, through all of our collaborators. The ministry always there to support us in everything that we do. We had our visits by PAHO and WHO representatives. And I want to say, we welcome your future support. Thank you.
What a journey. I'm sure, Dr. Beckles, that must have been a dream come true. And we look forward to the future services of the Barbados Living Lab. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I would like to invite our Prime Minister, Mia Amor Motley, to give the address.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, distinguished guests all. My role this morning is a very simple role. First and foremost, to thank all involved in this process. Sanji, you and your staff, Ministry of Health, who would have allowed this country to be able to benefit from this most important designation as a national influenza center. To the best of my knowledge, within the Caribbean community, there are 2 regional entities that do what we will now do, but none of them are national. We have CARFA, the Caribbean Public Health Agency, which our own Minister of Health, Senior Minister Jerome Walcott, would have helped to establish when he was in opposition, working hard as a consultant. And therefore, CARFA, both because of its origin and its current leadership, remain dear to our heart, with Barbadian Dr. St. John, former Chief Medical Officer, leading there. And then, of course, there's the virology lab at the University of the West Indies that we all support by reason of our financial support to the University of the West Indies. But to have a national lab so designated is a matter of immense pride for us. And I say so conscious that I keep telling others that we can finance our roads to victory, but we must have a clear plan. And Barbados has made significant investments over the years in our human capacity, in our skills, in the investments in those willing to do science at the University of the West Indies and elsewhere. But those persons with degrees without opportunity and capacity will come to naught. And therefore, the ability to have continuity of policy, and I make this point over and over, especially in the social sectors and in the economic sectors, but continuity of policy across governments, change of governments, is an absolutely critical aspect of the political stability of our nation, and long may that last. This goes back, therefore, across 3 governments now, the one led by Prime Minister Arthur, the one led by Prime Minister Stewart, and the one led, well, technically Thompson and Stewart, and then the one led by myself. And that is when we do our best. We have shown that it is possible to be able to reach global excellence. And to have this designation by the World Health Organization says to the rest of the world that this lab has reached these standards and is capable of being trusted. And that's the most important word in here. Trust in a world where even from social media, the volume of fake news, from the people peddling fake goods across the world, passing off as a concept that is well known to the law and has been developed because of the market that exists where people can create things that are not what they say they are. And therefore, for us to have a lab that can be truly trusted with respect to its results, it doesn't mean that there's always perfection, but it means that the systems and the processes are those that are worthy of trust, and that if something goes wrong, that we can easily and quickly determine what has happened in order to get back on the straight and narrow path. I say this because too often when we make the comment, global citizens, Bajan roots, people look at you with dazed eyes. What are you really talking about? How is that possible? Well, it is possible. And we have shown, particularly in the area of public health, that we have been able to produce some of the hemisphere and the world's best. This is a country that has produced Sir Kenneth Standard, Sir Kenneth Stewart, Sir George Allen, the former head of PAHO. All 3 names are synonymous with excellence in the journey of public health improvement in the Caribbean and the Americas over the last century. And Barbados should continue to want to assert itself as a global public health leader against that backdrop. That is why I accepted easily the duty and obligation of working as the co-chair of the One Health Global Initiative with the antimicrobial resistance, because we understand that fundamentally without health, we have nothing. And if we are not prepared, particularly in a country where there is a dense population, in certain areas, we are underpopulated as a nation, but our pattern of housing is densely populated, particularly within the coastal areas, which makes us therefore more prone, as you know better than I do, to the vagaries of contagious diseases. I'm told by those of you who are doctors that the next pandemic will happen. It is not a case of if, but it is a case of when. And only last week, the Financial Times did a wonderful piece reflecting on the difficult progress that is being made over the course of the last 2 years, largely because pandemics are usually a cycle of panic and neglect. Panic and neglect. And it is up to us as a government and as an institution to ensure, or as institutions like PAHO and WHO, to ensure that that panic and neglect is removed from our experience in preparation for the next pandemic. And we, therefore, as a government, are choosing to walk the walk and not just talk the talk. The continued investment in the Barbados Living Lab, which carries us outside of the narrow confines of only monitoring and diagnosis, but looking also at research, is important to us because we do not believe that our people are just drawers of water and hewers of wood, but that our people have the capacity also to be at the cutting edge of the research capabilities that we need in this world to make lives better for our people. A companion aspect of this is also our investment in creating the regulatory framework for the pharmaceutical manufacturing industry. Barbados has had a relationship with pharmaceuticals on or off for just over 130 years, 140 years, as I pointed out, with Carlisle Laboratories. And we are now at a position where that entity as well can undertake significantly more than it has because of the investment made in that institution. In addition to that, this week, we meet with other pharmaceutical producers as we continue our effort to build out the framework for that industry, recognizing that I think it was last year, October or November, that we launched the Barbados White Book, which will therefore lead to the level of legislative reform necessary, as well as the investments and the regulatory framework necessary for us to be more than fill and finish, but actually become involved in the serious research with the Living Lab and manufacturing with the pharmaceutical industry. Why are we doing all of this? This country cannot continue to invest as we are doing millions and hundreds of millions of dollars in ensuring that our citizens can be the best that they can be by studying at the University of the West Indies, and then not have opportunities for them to remain in the land of their birth or the land that they choose to really want to live in, simply because we do not have the opportunities for them to work. The Besto Santos lab immediately presented an opportunity for us to create employment for dozens of persons who had contributed to their own development by making the effort of studying and providing themselves with the skills, only then to be topped up by the international partnerships that we have. We have, therefore, to continue to see this as an area not just of social stability that is necessary for public health excellence, but also as an investment opportunity so that regulation can become part and parcel of Barbados's competitive advantage over other countries in the region and the hemisphere. And it is against that backdrop, therefore, I thank our partners, WHO and PAHO, our partners in the European Union, who particularly have been working with us closely on developing the regulatory framework with the pharmaceutical industry, and who we see as our, some of our main partners to go to that next level. Our partners with the Rwanda Food and Drug Agency, who have been extremely, extremely cooperative with us as we have walked this journey over the last 18 months. Our partners with USAID, a partnership, I believe, with the Argentinians before. And I remember that in the midst of all of this, they and others were some who, Panama, from which I came last week, all of them were people who recognize that it is only through solidarity and working together that we can climb the mountain necessary to overcome these difficult experiences that we've had. I did all that I could to dodge labs when I was at school. It is a confession. I've said publicly already because I went from first to third form and I had 7 science teachers between 6 terms at school that I didn't take to science and chose to stick with maths and languages and humanities. But in coming into this job, I have perhaps had to force myself to do more and regret my penchant for not wanting to go near a lab while I was at school. And I paid for it by having to spend about 4 or 5 nights in this lab, Sanji, um, at the height of the pandemic in 2021. Largely because I felt that the only way we could meet the necessary um, actions to make us the most effective and efficient in what we were doing was to fully understand every aspect of the process. Or as I like to tell you all the time, to deconstruct and reconstruct. And it is only when we understand that then that we can plot a way or a pathway, as I call it, to victory. Today is an example of that pathway to victory. And I want to salute all who have been involved locally and internationally, but in particular the staff, because the pandemic showed us that with all the equipment in the world, and with all the investment in the world, if our people did not have the character, the fortitude, the resilience, the capacity, all of this would have come to naught. And I have not taken it ever for granted. And hence our country's expression of gratitude with respect to the national honors and with respect to the honoraria that we paid out, because we believe that it was not sufficient only to say thank you. Having said that, I will continue to argue that if we have to say thank you for each and every time over the course of the next century, let us do it. Because we stand here today, strong as we are, not because of the efforts of any one entity, but because we came together in solidarity. And the solidarity was based foremost, yes, on investment, but foremost on character and resilience of our people. And without that, we would not be where we are today. So congratulations, thank you very much. And I look forward to you reaching higher heights with respect to your research with the Living Lab and with respect to our partnership with the pharmaceutical industry. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Madam Prime Minister. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we prepare to have the official handover. As we have the podium removed, I am going to invite Madam Prime Minister, Minister Ishmael, Dr. Singh, Dr. Beckles, and Dr. Amalia to return to the platform. Thank you all. Ladies and gentlemen, we could not have achieved this event today without the dedication of many persons here. So at this time, I would like to invite Dr. Prabjot Singh, Advisor for Health Surveillance, Disease Prevention and Control from the Pan American Health Organization, to give the vote of thanks.
That's fun. Ladies and gentlemen, protocol having been established, good morning. It is an honor to stand before you to celebrate this momentous occasion, the designation of the West Santos Lab as the National Influenza Center for WHO. This achievement represents a significant milestone in our commitment to global health and pandemic preparedness. I'd like to thank and give my heartfelt gratitude to all of those who've contributed to this, and especially, first and foremost, the work and dedication of the laboratory staff. Their tireless efforts in testing, surveillance, and research have been instrumental in earning this prestigious recognition. Our gratitude also extends to all the 3 levels of PAHO WHO for their unwavering support and collaboration. It would be remiss of me to not recognize Honorable Davidson Ishmael, the Minister of State in the Ministry of Health and Wellness for Barbados, for providing his support and his insights, as well as the future of West Santos Lab. And of course, we were honored to have the Prime Minister, the Honorable Myanmar Motley, with us for a few minutes. Her leadership in public health, both in Barbados and globally, inspires us all. And as we move forward, let us continue to prioritize research, innovation, and collaboration. Together, we can build a healthier and safer world. Thank you, and congratulations again to West Santos Lab for this well-deserved recognition.
Thank you, Dr. Singh. And at this time, as we close, I invite you all to join us over to the side for some light refreshments. And as you leave, travel safely. Have a wonderful day.